Good afternoon. On behalf of ZipAssist, I would like to welcome you all to the second Balancing on a Budget webinar of the 2021-2022 academic year. Today, we will be discussing ways you can eat healthy on a budget. I think it goes without saying that food is expensive. Whether you're buying groceries or dining out, it adds up quickly. And it seems that the price of food just continues to rise, unfortunately. We here at ZipAssist recognize that this is a tough time financially for many UA students. So we want to equip you with some tips and tricks that might help you save some money and be successful financially. I'm happy to see that we do have some people tuning in live with us, so welcome to all of you. Let's try and see who's in this webinar today. If this is your first time ever watching a Balancing on a Budget webinar, go ahead and react with a heart on Teams. If you're on your computer, I believe you'll find these reaction options at the top of your screen. If you're a Bob returner, you can react with a thumbs up. So go ahead and click a reaction, most likely at the top of your screen. If this is your first Bob webinar, react with a heart. If you participated in the Bob program in the past, react with a thumbs up. The reactions are at the top next to the chat bubble that show a person's face with a hand. I do know most people are probably watching the recorded version of this webinar, so please know we're also happy to have you joining us. A few housekeeping things before we get started, mainly for the students watching live with us. One, this webinar is being recorded so that students can watch at a later time if they're unavailable. So if you don't feel comfortable with your face showing, feel free to leave your webcam off for the duration of the webinar. Two, I want this to be interactive. Please use the chat feature for any questions you have throughout the presentation. There also might be a couple of times that I ask you to participate using the chat feature, so pay attention for that. And three, please be respectful and keep yourself muted to ensure that the best keep yourself muted to ensure the best sound quality for your peers that are watching. With that, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Jalen Falconer, and I serve as a coordinator of outreach here at ZipAssist at the University of Akron. I've been here at UA since April of this year. In my current role here at UA, I provide support to students in need, mainly working with students in financial distress. I work a lot with our Student Emergency Financial Assistance Grant, better known as SEFA, and I also support students with tuition concerns. I oversee the ZIPS Tech program, which provides loaned technology to students in need and assists with other various initiatives in our office. If you've participated in any Balancing on a Budget programs in the past, you've probably interacted with Taylor Sminchek, the staff member that created this program. I'm happy to say that Taylor is still employed with ZipAssist and overseeing the Balancing on a Budget program. She welcomed her second baby in August, and I'm facilitating this program during her absence. We're excited for her to return in a few weeks, and we're hopeful she'll be back for the November webinar. I want to open up today's presentation by explaining a little bit about ZipAssist and the support our office can provide to students. ZipAssist serves as a student advocacy and support office and centralized information hub for the university's campus. We're really your one-stop shop if you ever need help and you're unsure where to turn to. When you walk in the main doors of Simmons Hall, our office is located at the front information desk in the lobby. At the end of the day, we want to provide you with the support and resources needed to stay at UA and do well during your time here. At the bottom of this slide, you'll see some of the many services we offer, ranging from off-campus living, parent and family association, and the Simmons Hall information desk. We commonly tell students, however, if you have a question and just don't know where to go, come see us in Simmons Hall. If we can't provide you the answer ourselves, we will send you to the right direction. It's our goal that students don't experience a runaround and get the assistance they need as quickly as possible. If you would like to learn more about the ZipAssist office and or any services we offer, you can put your questions in the chat or contact me directly via email. One of our largest programs is the Help a Zip referral program. We recognize it can be difficult for students to balance their academics with the many demands they might have outside of the classroom. Because of that, we have a program in place at the university where we can outreach to students and make sure they're getting the support and resources needed to maintain enrollment at UA and succeed while they're here. If you or another student you know is in distress of any kind, please submit a Help a Zip referral found at www.uakron.edu/referral. A member of our team will outreach to students and determine the services and resources that would be best for them. Since we're talking about finances today, I'll give some examples of financial reasons why you would submit a referral. Maybe you or someone you know is simply struggling to budget their money and need extra one-on-one help. Perhaps you're confused about your financial aid or student account. Maybe a financial emergency happens, such as losing your job or you're being evicted from your apartment. Submit a referral. We want to make sure you have the support and resources needed to focus on your academics. Please know you can also submit a Help a Zip referral on behalf of a peer. Maybe you're concerned about a classmate, roommate, or friend. You can submit a referral on their behalf to connect them to any support that might be helpful. I do want to highlight a newer program that our office oversees called ZipsTech. If you do not have the technology needed to be successful in an online learning environment, for example, maybe a laptop or webcam, please submit a Help a Zip referral under the technology reason. I, click, I quickly want to review the overall Balancing on a Budget program before we dive into today's content. Obviously, you are watching the webinar for the month of October, but I also wanted to highlight the remaining programs for the 2021-2022 academic year. As you can see, each month has a different financial theme that's relevant to the daily needs of college students. You can sign up for future webinars at www.uakron.edu/financial-wellness. If any of these topics interest you, you can also sign up for our newsletter where you'll receive tips and tricks in your inbox related to all of these financial topics. We are planning to give away 10 $50 gift cards at the end of the semester for students that participate in the BOB program. You will earn a raffle entry for these gift cards for every webinar that you participate in, live or recorded. We will select the semester's winners after the December webinar. In order to enter the gift card raffle, whether you're watching this live or recorded, you will need to email me 3 things you learned or plan to implement as a result of watching this webinar. My email is jfalconer@uakron.edu, and I will send you a confirmation once I receive your email. If you send me 3 things you learned for each semester, or excuse me, if you send me 3 things you learned for each webinar this semester, you will earn 4 entries for the raffle. We'll also be doing a separate raffle for spring 2022. If you missed September's webinar, you're welcome to go back, watch the recording, and send me 3 things you learned as an entry. All right, time to jump into today's content. If any of you have participated in a Bob webinar in the past, you know we like to get you talking through the chat feature. Here's your first opportunity to participate. I'd like you to guess, how much does the average college student spend on groceries every month? Go ahead and type your response or your guess in the chat box at this time. How much does the average college student spend on groceries every month? You can see some people are typing. We've got $200, we've got $300, got one more person typing. We've got $600. These are all great guesses. Thank you all for responding and giving it a shot. We've had some great guesses submitted. The average grocery bill for college students is estimated to be about $250 every month. Now keep in mind, this is going to vary greatly for every individual. This number might seem super low to some of you, and it might seem super high to others watching with us. It's important to note that this number is for an individual. So if you're responsible for providing food to other individuals, this number is likely a lot higher. The average family of 4 spends between $920 to $1,100 a month on groceries, and neither of these values include eating out. The good news is that higher spending on groceries can have a positive effect by helping reduce spending on dining out, which is always more expensive. Second opportunity for you to participate. What percent of college students state that affording an adequate amount of food is difficult? Please put a response in the chat box at this time. What percent of college students state that affording an adequate amount of food is difficult? 60%, 75%, 65%, all great guesses. The answer to this question is 34%. This means 1 out of every 3 college students report that it's difficult to afford an adequate amount of food. I'll be sharing resources later in this presentation to help if you're currently experiencing food insecurity, but I wanted to bring attention to this statistic to share that it unfortunately is a concern of many college students. Many budgeting experts refer to something called the 4 walls. If you were with us in the September webinar, you might remember us briefly talking about these 4 walls. Basically, if you're having a hard time affording bills, these are the 4 things they suggest you take care of first. The most important thing on this slide is food because you obviously need to eat and stay in good health. It's so important, in fact, it deserves its own webinar. Here is a ton of tips and tricks to save money when it comes to food. First, meal plan. I know this sounds tedious, but this is one of the best ways to reduce food waste. Before you go grocery shopping, look through your cupboard and see what meals you can put together with the food you already have. Then plan out the meals you want to make that week and build your grocery list from that meal plan. That way, you're only buying what you need and will use. Second, cook at home and or pack your lunch. This is probably my biggest weakness when it comes to food, but it's so much cheaper to pack your lunch and eat at home instead of eating out. Bring your food to campus if you're tempted to buy food here. Third, don't go to the store hungry and stick to the list. I'm sharing this with you from experience that it's easy to buy more when you're hungry in the store. Related to this, don't come to campus hungry if you're a commuter. If you know you're going to buy Auntie Anne's if you go to the union, be proactive before that and eat before you come to the union. As far as shopping for food goes, buy produce in season to ensure you're getting the best deal. Buy cheaper protein options like beans, for example. Buy frozen, canned, or dried products as well. Buy generic. It's absolutely crazy how much money you'll save by buying generic, and honestly, they're the same product anyway. If you haven't already checked out our stores like Aldi or Save a Lot, this will help you save a lot of money on groceries. You can also use coupons, apps, and shop sales to save money at the grocery store. This varies so much for every store, but it is an excellent way to save. As far as shopping sales go, maybe you wanted chicken breast for a recipe that you're making, but perhaps you could use chicken thighs instead because they're on sale. Buy and cook in bulk is another way to not only save money, but also reduce food waste as well. And lastly, attend events both on and off campus to get free food. Not only will this fill your stomach, but you'll meet other students, stay connected on campus, and will likely benefit from the programs you attend. Some more tips and tricks about food in general. Utilize free grocery pickup services. Prior to COVID, a lot of grocery stores charged for curbside pickup. Most stores offer this service free now. If you struggle with impulse buying when grocery shopping, I highly encourage you to utilize these services. You can not only plan your grocery list at home, but you can shop at home online as well. Doing this will help you stick to your list, not be tempted by sales or end caps in the store, and you can always adjust your cart easily online if you end up spending more than you would like. It also saves you a ton of time and you don't need to go into the store. It's especially convenient if you have kids. Comparing grocery store prices is important. Shop around for the best deals. Maybe you get some things on your list from one store and you get other things on your list from another store. I know drinking more water sounds extremely obvious, but the cost of drinks adds up quickly. It's also healthier too. A general tip about purchasing organic is that if that's important to you, there's 12 kinds of produce that are called the Dirty Dozen. These 12 kinds of products usually have the most pesticides, so they're the best ones to buy organic. If you have a tight budget and want to purchase organic, I suggest prioritizing these 12 items as opposed to buying organic from other food items. In case you're curious, the 12 kinds of produce are strawberries, spinach, kale, nectarines, apples, grapes, peaches, cherries, pears, tomatoes, celery, and potatoes. I also encourage you to always keep snacks on you, whether that's keeping snacks in your car, book bag, purse, even in your office. This can help prevent you from buying food on the go. Lastly, reducing food waste is another way to save money on food. I do have a separate slide that breaks down some ways you can cut back on food waste. I don't know about you, but I absolutely hate throwing food away at home, especially since groceries aren't cheap. Some of these tips we covered on our general food slides, but the tips you see here specifically relate to avoiding food waste. First and foremost, create a shopping list and stick to it. Related to that, only buy what you need and will eat. Sometimes our eyes are bigger than our stomachs in the grocery store. The best way to avoid food waste is to only buy what you'll realistically eat before your food goes bad. Remember, you can always go back to the grocery store if you need more, but if you buy too much produce than you can actually eat, you'll ultimately be throwing that away. Third, cook meals in bulk and utilize your freezer. I actually just did this a few weeks ago. I dedicated a whole day to meal prepping and made a lots of freezer meals for the next couple of months. My main reason for doing this is to save time later on, but prepping meals in bulk saved me a lot of money too. I was able to buy a whole bag of onions, for example, instead of buying individual onions. Next, store food correctly. You want to make sure the food you buy lasts as long as possible. So this is something I encourage you to research. You can even try different food preservation methods. I encourage you to organize your kitchen strategically so that you eat certain foods first. Think twice before throwing something away. Did the entire piece of produce go bad, or are there just still parts that are salvageable that you can cut around? If you do find yourself throwing food away often, start keeping track of what those items are. There are there was a time where I noticed I was throwing away bags of carrots what seemed like every single week. I had every intention to eat those carrots and I felt good buying them, but if I was being honest with myself in the store, I wasn't really going to eat them at home. So I stopped buying carrots and instead bought different produce now that I'll actually eat. If you notice yourself throwing away a lot of chicken breast, for example, maybe you should reevaluate and buy less each week. When you make a meal, eat leftovers and pack lunches when possible. This is a great way to avoid throwing food away. Lastly, understand the dates on food. Sure, there's an expiration date on food, but I encourage you to do your research. In many situations, food is good much longer than the expiration date listed on the package. Since it's so easy to spend a lot of money eating out, I wanted to share some tips on how to save money at restaurants. As always, budget. If dining out is important to you, then plan for dining out in your budget. It's okay to give yourself permission to spend money on eating out if it's important to you and you have room in your budget to do so. The important thing, however, is to only spend within your means. Be realistic about it. But if you're giving yourself permission to have a couple meals a week out each week, this might help you stick to your meal plan otherwise. Most restaurant chains have coupons and send email alerts for good deals. If you don't mind getting the emails, sign up for them. You could even get a free item on your birthday. When you do dine out, an easy way to save money is to skip the drinks and appetizers. Water is free. Going back to the planning piece, look at the menu before you go. Figure out what you can afford before you're tempted to buy the pretty pictures and smells in the restaurant. Similar to doing curbside pickups for groceries, you can always get food to go if you're tempted to get drinks, desserts, or overspend when you eat in person. Getting food to go will also lower the amount you're expected to tip, if you're expected to at all, depending on the establishment. Dining out for lunch, happy hour, or just for appetizers is another simple way to save money. A friend of mine and I went to a restaurant last week together and we only just got an appetizer each. Don't feel like you have to get a full meal if you don't need to. If you're a parent, dine out when kids eat free. I'm putting a reminder out there about tipping. Even if you're attempting to save money, tipping should not be an area in which you make cuts. If you can't afford to tip well, it might be better to eat at restaurants like Chipotle where you aren't expected to tip. Lastly, if you have food at home, eat at home. This goes back to our food waste slide that we just talked about. Does anybody else have any tips to share? I know I covered a lot of tips pretty quickly. Does anybody have any other tips that they feel comfortable sharing with the group? Maybe you've learned some ways to trim down your grocery budget, control impulse spending when it comes to eating out, or know of any resources in the community to share with others. Feel free to put these in the chat box at any point before our webinar ends today. We'll be closing today's webinar with some programs and resources that are available for you to get better with your money, in addition to the Balancing on a Budget program, of course. I do want to take this time to share some information about our free resource available to currently enrolled UA students through Zip Assist. We do have a campus covered in several locations across campus, but it's mainly located in Simmons Hall. Currently enrolled students can request food and hygiene products when they're in a financial pinch and need food. If you would like to request food, please go to www.uakron.edu/cupboard and submit an online request. You can indicate any preferences or special requests that you have, and a member of our team will do our best to fulfill those. We will let you know when your Zips Care package is available to pick up at Simmons Hall. At this current time, students can request Zips Care packages weekly. We often tell students to utilize Campus Cupboard first each week and see what they have in stock. Then you can go to the grocery store and supplement what you received. This can help reduce the amount of money you spend on groceries. Next, I want to share the CFA program with you, which stands for Student Emergency Financial Assistance. If you find yourself experiencing a financial barrier of any kind, or really any barrier, not just financial, that hinders your ability to persist at UA, please submit a Help a Zip referral at the link you see at the bottom of the screen. A member of our team will outreach to you and provide support that would be helpful for you in your time of need. We do have an emergency grant housed within our office should you be experiencing a financial barrier related to any of the expenses you see on this screen. If you have a certain level of financial need on your FAFSA, we may consider you for one-time emergency assistance with this program. Next is the Financial Empowerment Center. Through a partnership that we have through the United Way of Summit and Medina Counties, UA students can receive one-on-one financial coaching completely free. You'll be connected to a trained financial coach that can help with a number of things, including budgeting, reducing debt, increasing your savings, and improving your credit score. The coach is currently meeting with students in Simmons Hall virtually or over the phone. If you would like to be connected to the free financial coach, please send me an email and I'll be happy to do so. I'll share my email again at the end of this presentation. If you want to independently educate yourself on some financial topics, I encourage you to check out Cash Course, which is an amazing resource. You can create a free account and look at resources, modules, worksheets, videos, and more. What's cool about this site is you can get help on specific topics. For example, if you know you want to move from on campus to off campus next year, they have a module to help you financially prepare for this and guide you through the process to make the best financial decisions. Grad Ready is similar to Cash Course, but this site is more so designed for those that are wanting to get a head start with loan repayment and real-world finance once you graduate here at UA. PNC My Finance Academy is one of the hallmarks of PNC's student banking program, providing free financial literacy tools to all university students. The site is designed so that you can learn however you prefer by listening to a podcast, watching a webinar, or reading a personal finance article. Topics include everything from tips on how to build your credit score to building a budget while in college. To learn more, visit pnc.com/myfinanceacademy. PNC is our on-campus banking partner and is sponsoring the Balancing on a Budget program this year. We're very appreciative of their partnership and collaboration. Again, to get credit for watching today's webinar and to enter the gift card raffle, please email me 3 things you learned or plan to implement as a result of watching this webinar. My email is at the bottom of the screen and I'll send you a confirmation once I receive your gift card submission. We will be raffling off 10 $50 gift cards after the December webinar. If you want more chances for the gift card, I encourage you to sign up and watch the other monthly webinars through the Balancing on a Budget program. Again, you can totally go back and watch September's recorded webinar and send me 3 things you learned from that webinar as well to add an extra raffle to your drawing. I would like to allow the remaining time for any questions that you might have. If you have any remaining thoughts, please go ahead and type them in the chat box at this time. Again, I would like to encourage you to schedule an appointment with our free financial empowerment coach this semester. This can be done on our website, www.uakron.edu/zipassist. I also encourage you to sign up for the Bob newsletter and watch future webinars. Now that we've learned the content, it's time to practice. I hope you have a great Wednesday, and please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions at jfalconer@uakron.edu. Thank you.